Imagine a country, rich in resources, yet its people struggle, a place of beauty yet fraught with turmoil. Welcome to the intriguing story of Venezuela. Here we find a land where the paradox of plenty is most evident, a nation teetering on the brink of chaos. Women embarking on journeys to find their men, cities bursting at the seams, and a culture that refuses to be silenced. We'll explore the economic conditions that have shaped this vibrant yet troubled country. Join us as we delve into the fascinating history of this paradoxical nation. Of Venezuela, a country with a past as diverse as its landscape. But what are the roots of this modern nation? Our journey begins with the indigenous cultures that first inhabited this land. The Caribs, the Arawaks, and the Chibcha. These were the original inhabitants of Venezuela. They lived in harmony with the lush rainforests and the vibrant plains, their lives interwoven with the rhythms of nature. Their stories, languages, and traditions formed the first chapters of Venezuela's narrative. With the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the late 15th century, a new era dawned. Spain, with its hunger for gold and territory, cast its eyes on this new world. The indigenous cultures faced the onslaught of colonization, their lives forever changed by the foreign invaders. The Spanish introduced new systems, new beliefs, and new conflicts, reshaping the fabric of the land. The fight for freedom, however, was a flame that could not be extinguished. In the early 19th century, a man named Simon Bolivar emerged from the turmoil. Known as El Libertador, or the Liberator, Bolivar led the charge against Spanish rule. His vision for a united South America, free from the shackles of colonial oppression, ignited the hearts of his people. Despite immense challenges, Bolivar's dream became a reality in 1821, when Venezuela gained its independence. But independence was not the end of the story. A new chapter began as the country grappled with its newfound freedom. Political struggles, territorial disputes, and economic challenges marked this period of transition. The country was finding its footing, building its identity, and laying the foundations of its modern state. From the indigenous cultures to Spanish colonization, from the fight for independence to the struggles of a new nation, each chapter of Venezuela's history has left its mark. The joys and sorrows, victories and defeats, dreams and realities of the Venezuelan people have been woven into the fabric of this nation. These historical events laid the groundwork for the Venezuela we know today. From a struggling nation to a wealthy state, Venezuela's fortune changed with the discovery of oil. This remarkable transformation began in the early 20th century, as the world began to thirst for the viscous black liquid that lay beneath Venezuela's soil. Oil, often referred to as black gold, was discovered in abundant quantities in this South American nation. The discovery was a turning point, a game changer that brought an economic boom unlike any other in the country's history. As oil wells sprung up across the vast plains and dense jungles, Venezuela quickly became one of the world's largest oil exporters. With this newfound wealth, the face of the nation began to change. The economy, once primarily agricultural, shifted towards a focus on oil extraction and export. The bustling cities of Caracas and Maracaibo, once quiet and unassuming, transformed into sprawling metropolises, their skylines punctuated by towering oil derricks and refineries. But it wasn't just the landscape that changed. The society, the politics, and the very fabric of Venezuelan life were also profoundly impacted. The oil boom brought with it an influx of foreign investors and a surge in national revenue. This led to an increase in public spending, improved infrastructure, and a rise in the standard of living. The political landscape also shifted, with the government gaining significant power and influence through its control of the oil industry. However, while the black gold brought prosperity, it was not without its pitfalls. The economy became heavily reliant on oil, making it vulnerable to global market fluctuations. Additionally, the wealth was not evenly distributed, leading to economic disparities and social unrest. This period, known as the Black Gold Rush, was a time of rapid change and growth for Venezuela. It was a time when the country took its place on the global stage, riding high on the waves of oil wealth. Yet as we'll see, the very thing that brought Venezuela its wealth also set the stage for future challenges. The Black Gold Rush transformed Venezuela, but it also sowed the seeds of future challenges. An economy tied to the whims of oil prices is a recipe for disaster. Imagine, if you will, a nation riding high on the wave of oil wealth. Venezuela, a country blessed with the largest proven oil reserves in the world, was once a beacon of prosperity in Latin America. It was a dream of a nation, powered by the black gold that lay beneath its soil. But that golden dream would soon turn into a nightmare. Venezuela's economy was a one-trick pony, so to say, heavily dependent on oil revenues. When oil prices were high, the nation flourished. But the problem with tying your fortunes to a single commodity is that when the prices fall, the consequences can be devastating, and that's exactly what happened. When oil prices started to plummet, Venezuela began to feel the pinch. The economy started to buckle under the pressure. The government, in a bid to maintain its lavish public spending, started to print more and more money. This led to hyperinflation. What's hyperinflation, you ask? Imagine going to the store and finding out that the price of bread has doubled overnight. That's hyperinflation. The Venezuelan bolivar, once a strong and stable currency, was now worth less than the paper it was printed on. The country's economic crisis was further exacerbated by a lack of diversification. The government had neglected other sectors of the economy in favor of oil. When the oil money started to dry up, there was nothing to fall back on. The manufacturing sector was in shambles, agriculture was neglected, and the service industry was virtually non-existent. The result was an economy in free fall. Unemployment soared, poverty rates skyrocketed, and people's savings evaporated overnight. The country was plunged into a deep economic crisis, the likes of which it had never seen before. In the face of this economic crisis, the government's response was too little, too late. Despite attempts to curb inflation and stimulate economic growth, the damage was done. The economy was spiraling out of control, and there was no easy way out. Venezuela's economy, once a beacon of prosperity, was now crumbling. When survival becomes a daily struggle, leaving becomes the only option. Picture this: a country rich in oil, once the beacon of prosperity in South America, now grappling with an economy in shambles. This is the reality of modern Venezuela, a nation whose citizens have been forced into an exodus, a mass migration in search of life beyond survival. The economic and political crisis in Venezuela has been particularly hard on its women. With their homes falling apart, they have taken the tough decision to uproot their lives, leaving everything they know behind. The hope? A better future, a chance at stability, and the promise of opportunities that their motherland can no longer provide. The journey, however, is far from easy. The path to a new beginning is fraught with challenges. From navigating the treacherous terrains to crossing borders, these women endure hardship after hardship, their strength tested at every turn, yet they march on, their resolve unbroken. The exodus is not merely a shift in population, it is a testament to the human spirit's resilience. It is a story of survival, of sacrifice, of hope against all odds. It is a narrative of women who dare to dream, even when the world seems to be falling apart. But the Great Exodus is also a reflection of Venezuela's plight. A country that was once a powerhouse in South America now stands as a symbol of economic collapse. A nation that was home to millions now watches as its people leave in droves. It's a grim picture indeed. The Exodus also paints a stark contrast to the Venezuela of yesterday. It brings to light the harsh realities of a nation in turmoil, a society struggling to hold on to its cultural identity amidst the chaos. It is a reminder of the cost of instability, of the price paid by ordinary people when a country's foundations crumble. The Great Exodus paints a grim picture of a nation in crisis. Yet, even in the face of such adversity, the spirit of the Venezuelan people remains unbroken. Their journey continues, their hope undimmed. For in the end, it is not just about survival, but about the pursuit of a life worth living. As we've seen, Venezuela's story is one of riches and ruin, a tale woven with threads of black gold and economic downfall, with the backdrop of an enchanting land echoing the rhythm of Latin America. The foundations of modern Venezuela are deeply rooted in oil, a blessing and a curse. The black gold rush transformed this country into one of the wealthiest in Latin America, yet it also paved the path to a crumbling economy. The nation's over-reliance on oil revenues, coupled with poor economic policies, led to hyperinflation, scarcity of basic goods, and an exodus of millions in search for better lives. The Great Exodus, a poignant chapter in Venezuela's saga, saw a significant portion of its population, especially women, emigrate in search of stability. This mass migration, one of the largest in recent history, has not only altered the demographic landscape of the country, but also painted a stark picture of its dire circumstances. Yet amid the economic turmoil and demographic shifts, the cultural heartbeat of Venezuela remains vibrant. The resilience and optimism of its people is a testament to their enduring spirit. They continue to create art, music, and traditions that reflect their rich heritage and the complexity of their experiences. Venezuela, a nation of beauty and strife, of wealth and want, continues to be a paradox. The future remains uncertain, but the resilience of its people endures.